Hello and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Amy Berger. Today, we're going to be chatting about how to set realistic expectations for fat loss. Hi, Amy.
Hey, Glenn, how's it going?
Very good, very good. Thank you so much. And always good to have you back on. We're learning so much from you, Amy, and we really appreciate your time to come out here and help enlighten us and educate us on these very, very important topics. So today we're going to be chatting about realistic or setting realistic expectations for fat loss. It's quite a tough one because there are so many factors that come into play. Hormones, age, gender, medications, and so much more. These are just some of the factors, but I mean, you're going to have a whole host of other reasons for why people should be setting or how people should be setting these expectations, these fat loss expectations. Let's kick it off. What is your words of wisdom today?
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, you could write an entire book about this topic. And I guess the first thing that people really need to understand is that weight loss or fat loss rather is a long-term process. It's not like a one and done. It's not like you do keto for one day and you lose 50 pounds. I wish. It is a long-term process. And think of it like an investment. If you have a retirement account or a savings account, you put in a little bit of money every month or whatever. And it's only a little bit, but over time, it compounds and adds and builds so that after a few years, you have lots and lots of savings, hopefully. It's the same thing with weight loss. I mean, it shouldn't take years, but little actions every day, and the weight comes off little bit. But when you step back and look at the big picture, the weight loss is down, but people have to understand that even on keto, because I know that so many people see these seemingly miraculous transformations, even on keto, it takes time. And if you go into the process, understanding that it's going to take time, you'll be much less frustrated when you don't lose 20 pounds in the first 2 weeks.
So, I suppose the difficulty comes in the fact that we're all different, and that typically you'll find, let's say, a husband and wife that embark on this journey together, and the one loses that 20 pounds in the first, I wouldn't say 2 weeks, but very, very quickly, and the other one takes time. And it's so hard for the other person. But really, the fact is we are all different. We all have different things that are going on in our bodies, and we're different people and different metabolisms and different genetics. And these all obviously play a role. But the problem is that we have these unrealistic expectations that we everything needs to happen now, happen quickly.
Yeah, I'll share a joke with you. I wish I had created this, but it's not mine. I don't know who came up with it, but men and women definitely lose weight at different rates. Men tend to lose much more quickly and more easily than women. Even when a man is not being as strict with his diet, he can still lose weight, whereas the woman has to pull out all the stops and press all the levers. And even then, it can be slow. So the joke is, did you hear about the woman who went on a keto diet? Her husband lost 20 pounds.
I've heard that one before. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And it's, we can all laugh because it's true. But I think it's human nature to want to compare ourselves. But we really are different. Everyone has a different medical history. Everyone may come from a different, even dieting history, a history of yo-yoing with weight can affect it. And you have to eyes on your own journey, eyes on your own road, and you can look to other people, hopefully, for motivation and inspiration rather than comparing and getting discouraged and jealous and frustrated.
Now, to do with today's topic, setting realistic expectations for fat loss, what is the ideal time frame or expectation that someone should expect? I know that Dr. Westman has a particular number in mind where he says you can expect to lose X amount of weight. Maybe you can enlighten us on that number. per month or per week. But what is the expectation? What is that realistic expectation that someone should come into this with?
Yeah, so there are a couple of points to be made here. I think Dr. Westman usually says that a pretty good rate of weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds per week. But here's the thing people need to understand. The heavier you are, the larger you are when you start, the more weight you're going to lose and the more quickly you'll lose it at first, the first few weeks, the first few months. It's going to melt. If you are looking to lose 100 or 200 pounds versus someone who's looking to lose the last 6 or 8 or 10 pounds, the closer you are to your goal, the more difficult and the more slowly those few pounds are going to come off compared to someone that's starting off much heavier. So somebody starting off much heavier, it is possible to lose 10 pounds in a week, 20 pounds, 30 pounds in a month. If you are very, very large, it's entirely possible to lose that much. You're not going to lose that much if you're only looking to lose 10 or 20 pounds. And then the other factor that people have to realize is that scale weight doesn't tell the tale all the time. So if you're looking at the scale every day, like at first I said, people have to have realistic expectations. You have to get comfortable with the fact that this is going to be a long-term process. You also, absolutely critical, you have to get comfortable with the fact that your scale weight from day to day is going to fluctuate. It's going to be up and down a little bit, 1 or 2 or 3 pounds, 1 or 2 kilos. And, but over time, you'll lose a little bit, stay the same for a few days, lose a little, stay, gain a pound or 2. It's going to be a squiggly line downward, but over the long term, your weight will be down, even if from day to day, there's been little blips where it was up or staying the same. So even if a good rate is 1 to 2 pounds per week, and again, that depends on your starting size, that 1 to 2 pounds every week might not be steady every single week. It'll be the average over 3 or 4 or 6 months. When you look back, well, I lost X pounds over 6 months. That averages out to about 1 pound a week or 2 pounds, versus every single week you lose 1 or 2 pounds. It doesn't work that way.
Now, when people are trying to set these realistic expectations, do you have any advice for them? So, for example, I know this is a big one. One of the biggest pieces of advice is do not get onto the scale, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's okay to weigh yourself. It is okay to weigh yourself every day if you want. Some people find that helps keep them honest, so to speak. But if you're going to weigh yourself every day, it's imperative that you understand that those fluctuations are normal, and it doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. And it doesn't even mean you've gained body fat. Your scale weight is, you don't know what it is. It's body fat, it's water, it's bone, it's muscle. And so that's why it fluctuates. If you're up a pound or 2, it's probably not body fat. You're just women, we know you retain water all kinds of different ways. So it's okay to weigh, but I think people have to remember too, that even if your scale weight is not changing at all or changing much more slowly than you want it to, your size and shape can still be changing. We see this all the time in the courses that Adapt Your Life has. People whose scale weight is not changing, yet they're in smaller pants or they're on a new notch on their belt. They're getting smaller. So pay attention to other things that are happening in your body besides your scale weight.
So, Amy, and my last question that I have for you today, or I think that we want to obviously give as much hope as we possibly can to folks that are currently battling to lose weight or in a stall at the moment. Is there light at the end of the tunnel? So if people listen to what you have to say, if they stick to the program, if they kind of understand what their expectations are, is there light at the end of the hope at the end of the tunnel, or light at the end of the tunnel when it comes time to sticking to this program?
Yeah, I think there's always, everybody can lose fat. You just might have to change something that you're doing. You know, last week we covered certain dietary factors, like eating too much fat, too many carbs. So you can lose this fat. You can. I believe in you if you're watching out there. But you might have to tinker a little. You know, if what you're doing now isn't working, step back and assess where can I change? What do I think might be getting in the way? And it's not always the food. You know, check the medications you take. Some medications either cause weight gain or make it more difficult to lose. Thyroid problems can definitely be an issue. Everything is fixable, but first you have to identify what needs to be fixed.
Fantastic. Well, that's all we have time for today, folks. Thank you so much. Amy, we really do appreciate it. Before you guys leave, just a reminder that we have a special bonus for you today, which is an exciting new quiz based on Dr. Westman and Amy Berger's new book called End Your Carb Confusion. And if you haven't read the book and you'd like to determine your own personal carb thresholds and how to customize your carb intake, then this quiz is definitely for you. Amy, thank you so much for your time once again, and we look forward to having you on again next week. Until then, thank you so much and goodbye.